What is good? What is up? It's Jordan, our Texans Thoughts, and we're back with another live stream. Whoo boy, today we have got a doozy, ladies and gentlemen. What's up to everyone in the stream? Thank you for coming through. What's up, Bearded Zoo Guy? Compendium. I don't even know what a compendium is, but shout out to you for being here early. Dave's Mills in the chat as well. My boys Jay, Beige, Ryan, Willie Boy P. Let's go, y'all. We're here. It's been a minute. But we got a lot to discuss today. Yes, today stream is the epitome of the eye emoji. It's the epitome of the eye emoji because what the hell is going on, man? What the hell is going on? We're gonna do our best to try and, read the tea leaves, try and figure out this Deshaun Watson situation, where he's being traded to, what a potential package could be, how that impacts the Texans in the future. And then we're also going to go over, kind of some of the moves that they made in free agency. Going to have a special guest, John Crumpler, Texans Doc. If you guys know him, he's a good writer over at Texans Wire. He'll be joining me here in maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, he said. So we'll have a nice guest to talk back and forth with. This one is going to be a pretty unstructured stream. I'm pretty much just going to be answering y'all's questions and taking it from there because I've had a crazy day. Crazy. Just got back from taking a test, had meetings all day. And so I have not been as prepared as I would like to be. I have an outline, but I'm going to take it pretty. Schefter has a tweet, read the Falcons. Yeah, so basically today, the Falcon, oh my goodness. The Falcons now have pushback. Here, I'll share my screen with y'all. Share screen. Not that screen. This screen? Is this the one? Yes. Okay. Let me put this there. Nope. This is not the right screen to share, huh? Okay, my boy John is here in a second, but I just need to... 1 second. John, I'm struggling. Haven't used this platform in a while. Okay, there we go. Adam Schefter just tweeted right now. 5:29, 4 minutes ago, actually. I lied. Falcons now push back the $7.5 million roster bonus due Friday to quarterback Matt Ryan to Tuesday, giving Atlanta 4 extra days to hear the Deshaun Watson decision and be able to trade. Oh, my lordy. What does this mean? Probably not getting a decision today. That's probably what it means. With that said, I'm getting my boy John in here. There was a lot of noise surrounding the Falcons potentially being the team today and it being finalized today. But there you go, Adam Schefter. That's a big domino. I'm going to hit that retweet. Not happening today. All right, let me get John in here. John, my man.
Hey, Jordan, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. John and we've been, I've met him on Twitter, and I always like, dude, this guy is a smart ass dude. He's got some good takes. He's level-headed, and I always liked him. But then we came down to the Senior Bowl together, and best buds. Went through the entire experience together. It was amazing. So really bonded with him. So great guy. Follow him on Twitter at Texans Doc. But yeah, what day is it today, man? Thursday. How's your Thursday?
I mean, I don't blame you. I think I've lost track of time too with the Watson saga. Just all the days blend together when you're just on Twitter.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Let me tell you guys, though, you can't make a better friend than standing in the middle of a monsoon in Mobile, Alabama, trying to watch a football practice. Senior Bowl was fun, but dude, this Watson stuff.
Yeah, let's get right into it because there's so much to decipher, so many different reports, and like the favorite to land him has changed so much, John. Mm-hmm. So I guess, okay, do you want to break it down for us, kind of a quick rundown? Because I know you've been you just came hot off a podcast for Texans Wire with Mark Lane. So give the people a little bit of a rundown of kind of, I guess, the past week and kind of how you see the favorites lining up and based off of like the news you've seen and stuff like that. Let us know.
So, I mean, the past week, I'll tell the story that we all know at this point.
Yeah.
Watson was cleared criminally last Friday and teams started lining up. Carolina, New Orleans, and Cleveland were the first 3 interviews, and those started on Monday. And then Atlanta jumped in on Wednesday. And since then, I think, Jordan, tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like everyone has been the favorite at some point.
It
But
started with Carolina. You even heard the Browns were the favorite at one point,
Mhm.
which I mean, I won't buying them, but they do have a good roster. They have a good head coach. Then it went to the Saints for most time, and recently it's been the Falcons. So yes, you're absolutely right. But yes, keep going.
And then I think the first team that we kind of eliminated, if you pay attention, was Benjamin Albright came out and squashed Cleveland. He said, I'll pay $1,000 to charity if he picks Cleveland. And Albright's a well-sourced dude. So I think we've kind of known it wouldn't be them. And before the Falcons stepped in, a lot of stuff started coming from Aaron Wilson that the Saints had put together a better proposal than the Panthers. I've been interacting a lot with Charlotte people on Twitter. And the matter of fact is, if Houston was not so loudly dysfunctional, people will be looking at the Panthers as the
Oh my
worst team
God.
in the NFL. If you guys remember how much we hated Bill O'Brien, that's how they talk about their head coach, Matt Rule.
Yep.
The GM actually promoted 2 of the assistants to assistant head coaches this week. So it's kind of assumed that Rule won't even last the season. And then in the past 2 days, Atlanta, New Orleans.
Do you hear the rumors? I think it was Albright as well that tweeted out saying that if Deshaun were to go to the Panthers, he would have control and say over who the next head coach would be. That would be crazy.
I did hear that. And I kind of believe it, man. David Tepper he just seems hell-bent on acquiring Watson. God. I mean, they're the Carolina Panthers, and I think that's how he wants to brand them, bring in that South Carolina market by getting the Clemson star quarterback, one of their best players in school history.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's all about what does Watson want? And it seems like he doesn't want Carolina. We would have heard it by now. But I mean, would you be surprised?
Bill O'Brien was the next guy. Oh man. I think Deshaun liked him, but I mean, I think his like for Bill O'Brien has been kind of overblown by Twitter. But yes, people are referring to Wilson's new tweet. You mean Watson's new tweet? The Wilson tweet as well. But yes, just for the people who are joining in right now, the Falcons are basically pushing back the deadline that we all thought would be for Friday, and now it's boom to Tuesday. So Deshaun's gonna think it over for the entire weekend, and it's a big decision.
This new tweet, it's not the news that we were hoping to hear from Aaron Wilson.
Oh, what is this? Truth will be told by Cooks. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So he's gonna take the weekend to think about it. Great. Which pisses us all off because he's already dragged this out for so damn long, John. Dude. I mean, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, of getting excited about the Panthers package. You know, Jeremy Chin and Brian Burns, the 6th overall pick. Who are we going to take at 6? What are we going to do? We're going to trade down. We're going to take Kyle Hamilton and Kayvon Thibodeau, right? And then it was the Saints, and like their package might not be as attractive. And then it's the Falcons. The Falcons came out of left damn field, John. Oh my God. And talk about, do you think Atlanta is really, because I think Atlanta's my favorite in terms of the picks and the players that they can bring to the table for us. But which team is your kind of favorite in terms of
Atlanta is the realistic favorite, right? Because in a perfect world, like you said, we all got probably way too excited about the idea of the Carolina package, especially when you have people on the ground in Charlotte reporting that their owner, David Tepper, was willing to outbid anybody in the room. And it was, oh my gosh, we're going to get 2 defensive starters and the 6th pick and 2 more ones and maybe some day 2 picks. And instead, we're left with New Orleans and Atlanta. And between those two, I agree with you, man. I like the Atlanta package. Yeah. They have all their day 2 picks to give. They've got this top 10 pick. They've got some interesting young guys that I like. I don't think we're going to get Kyle Pitts. That doesn't make any sense. If they're already going to have to pull off, I'll call it magic to get Matt Ryan off that roster. But, I mean, I think anyone else on the roster, you could feasibly start scheming up to Houston.
Dude, yeah. And Kyle Pitts, we got to get into that. His tweet today, I actually pull it up right now. He deleted it, but Kyle Pitts tweeted at noon today, it's about to get scary in Atlanta. And you just can't do that and not expect the masses to come for you, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's a rookie mistake right there. But he drew a lot of smoke for that one. Might have pulled the trigger to it. Exactly. Right? Exactly. There's too many connections between the two for the masses not to think this is about Deshaun Watson. But he later went back and said, this tweet, this is what I was talking about. My dog coming back home. Casey Hayward signing with the Falcons. You know, is he hiding his Is he trying to? I
That's
don't know, man. I don't
not what you
know.
were doing. Uh, I
It's
mean,
crazy, but
there's so much smoke around Atlanta. I have to believe it's very real, especially for me. The turning point of, I mean, if you recall on Wednesday, some of the reports where the Atlanta interest was just to drive up the market so that New Orleans or Carolina might
yeah,
overextend.
yeah,
And the turning point for me was when Schefter put out that they had told Matt Ryan in advance that they were going to talk. And I live in Atlanta. Guys, this city loves Matt Ryan. I mean, he's been here a long time. That organization, they overcommitted to him, you could argue. Last year, they restructured his deal.
yeah.
I mean, that's one of the big reasons they're struggling to get Watson is it's a $40 million dead cap hit if they move off of him. They're committed to Matt Ryan. And when I saw that they told him outright after he's been with the franchise since 2008, hey, we're going to go for Watson, that's big.
It's big. It's big. And Atlanta makes so much sense as a destination for Watson. First off, shout out to my boy Jordan. But it makes so much sense for Watson, right? I mean, he can return home. So there's the whole part of his, journey and reclamation kind of in rebuilding his image, right? That's going to be such an easier thing to do if you're at home with your family, with that support, the people who are always going to have your back, right? That's probably how he feels. So there's that aspect. There's the whole, his idol's been Mike Vick, and he always looks up to him. And then there's just been rumors of like tons of recruiting being done by, his family members and by players and whatnot. And so it's really been crazy how Deshaun is almost like a free agent, John. Like, it's not even like people are kind of forgetting that he's still like technically a Houston Texan and a trade technically has to go down. Like, this has been an unprecedented freaking search. And I got
Jordan, I don't think we're ever going to see anything like it again. I mean, I tweeted out earlier that this is going to make owners think twice about that no trade clause because Deshaun is a contracted Houston Texan. He has a 4-year deal with us too. It's not like he's about to be a free agent. He's the highest paid player in team history and like one of the top 5 highest players in NFL history when he signed that deal. And yeah, he's a free agent. He has teams flying to Houston, flying to Atlanta. They're putting together presentations to win Deshaun Watson. So yeah, I can't believe that it's happening. I have to think that Atlanta, like you said, they're able to pitch him on that idea of like, hey, like where better to rebuild your image than a community that you're already familiar with and a part of. For Watson, someone pulled up the quote from his draft. And if you remember, Atlanta played in the Super Bowl the season that Watson was drafted. So it was a total pipe dream to him. I bet he didn't think twice about saying, oh, I'd love to be a quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons because everyone knew it was impossible. And now suddenly Watson has the power to make that a reality.
And that's the crazy part about this, John, is that Atlanta kind of makes so much sense that why is this decision taking this long? Is it really that difficult between Atlanta and New Orleans? We're going to get into New Orleans next, but do you think Deshaun and his agency is being, 100% just kind of taking this process like honestly and doing right by it and really weighing their options? Or do you think they're trying to drag this out, make this kind of about Watson and build up the hype and kind of, keep his name in the news and keep like the PR going? Do you think that's part of this? Or
I mean, frankly, I think it's just Watson has waited a long time for this. He demanded a trade 14 months ago now, January 2021. He's never been a free agent before. He's never had this kind of control over his career since he came out of high school. And for us, it's a trade. We're going to get assets. But for Watson, for a guy who says he wants to be legendary, this is your career. And I don't think that's a choice you can make in 3 days. So I don't think they're trying to drum up hype. I don't think they mind it. But frankly, until he can get on the ground somewhere and start showing face, making appearances, I don't think this is great for his PR. It's just raising questions of, why are we rolling out the red carpet for someone with these allegations? But at the same time, if you have the power to take your time, which you have the no trade clause, in a team like Atlanta, that also, by the way, I think it is really hard to move the Matt Ryan contract because are you familiar? Can you go over the salary cap if you're going to come back under it in like the next time period?
I wish I was Texans cap. I'm not. I wish I knew. I don't know, honestly. But I think there's it is difficult with Matt Ryan, but the good part is that he's Matt Ryan. He's not even just Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? Like, he is going to be a desired asset. He's going to be easy to trade, whether it's the Colts, whether it's the Browns, the Seahawks, whatever it may be. Like, they're going to have options. But what I wanted to get to is where'd it go? Someone was asking about the package. Yes, Tyler wanted to see the package. So this guy Jake has been tweeting all day about, oh my goodness, where are his tweets about it? Basically, he's been the guy who's been one of the main guys who's been driving all this Falcons noise, especially today. He said Deshaun Watson is expected to waive his no trade clause and join the Atlanta Falcons, blah, 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 blah. Announcement should be in the next few hours. And he's pulling up texts from his quote unquote source, right? And so eventually he's been kind of proven wrong, and he posts his text. The deal is done, not announced, but it's done. Blah 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 blah. The package that he is being told is 2 firsts and 1/3, which right there, that kind of tells you that, hey, buddy, your source might not be telling you the truth. Because what has Nick Caserio's asking price been this entire time, John? 3 firsts,
3 firsts,
some day 2 picks, and 1 or 2 players, young players on a rookie scale contract, which this Atlanta deal is nowhere near even close. And we know from Aaron Wilson, I think was the first to report it, but maybe it was someone else. I might be wrong in that. But they said that the Texans had seen and accepted every trade proposal from these 4 teams before they allowed them to talk with Deshaun Watson. So those are all packages that Nick is happy with taking. The Texans have kind of done their part of this at this point. It's really up to Deshaun, and we're waiting the weekend.
What it tells me is that source is either fake, which is very possible. 2, I mean, every stories get out when people want them to get out. So that could be, from an Atlanta perspective, if you want to start building positive PR about the trade, you start leaking that it's going to cost less than everyone's worried it's going to cost. Oh, it's not going to cripple us, guys. And you start to build some positive excitement. But yeah, I don't buy 2 first-round picks in one. This isn't Jalen Ramsey. This is a quarterback. He's going to get – Nick is going to get most of what he wants.
Yes, exactly. And negotiations do have to happen. And so let's maybe talk about that a little bit regarding Atlanta, because I do think it's a 2-horse race at this point between Atlanta and New Orleans, right? So Jordan asks, do you think the only untouchable on Atlanta is Pitts? I think so. I think Terrell, we've seen his name being floated. Aaron Wilson put his name in the article he wrote. So I think Terrell, obviously they would like to keep him. He was a second team all-pro, legit cornerback 1. Like, that dude is legit going into his 3rd year now. So he's going to be with them for a while, ideally. But I don't think he's untouchable per se. I think Kyle Pitts is probably higher up on the totem pole for them. Would you agree with that, John? Do you think he's the only untouchable?
I would agree with that. I mean, Pitts, if you just look at the money, they're already going to have such a hard time getting this to work.
Yeah.
And then you look at Pitts and Watson share an agent. I think Pitts is an attractive factor for Watson to come play with. Arthur Smith is a former tight ends coach. I believe he's their head coach. He was the Tennessee offensive coordinator, not this past year, but the year before. And then AJ Terrell, I agree, we could get him, but it might lower my expectations for what the rest of our package looks like. If we get an all-pro corner, it could really just be Terrell in the 3 picks.
Yes, and I think that's a reality that we kind of need to prepare ourselves for, especially at least from what I'm seeing on Texans Twitter, is that people are like, I will throw out mock trades where it's like 3 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 players, and people are like still like, no, we need more, and they're asking for, like, when the Browns were in there, for example, everyone was asking for Myles Garrett and stuff. Like, we're not going to get the other team's best player. And I get that we are giving up our best player, but we're in a situation where Watson doesn't want to be here. It's not like Myles Garrett doesn't want to be with the Browns. You know what I mean? So we're at a bit of a different scenario there in that sense. So I don't know. I just want to prepare people that, we're not going to get like an insane offer. You know what I mean? But we're still going to get very well compensated to the point where we can absolutely accelerate our rebuild and put ourselves in a much better position. Oh my God, it's already almost 6. A much better position for the future. Anyways, Zero Tux Given says, thank you, first of all, for the $5. I appreciate your support. Love you guys, but it looks like we would receive some compensation from Atlanta and some from Indy or Cleveland for Matt Ryan. No, that's been something that's been floated out there in terms of a Falcons deal is, like John has been saying, they need to move that Matt Ryan contract. They need to do a lot of cap magic, and it's not impossible. The cap can very well be manipulated. It just takes some big brains.
Yeah.
So one thing that's been kind of floated around there in terms of rumors is we give them Deshaun. They give us some picks. Maybe it's 3 firsts and a player, but maybe they don't give us like a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick. And instead, that 2nd or 3rd round pick that Nick has been asking for comes from a team like Indianapolis. And it's kind of a 3-team trade where Matt Ryan gets sent to Indianapolis. Indianapolis sends us the 2nd. We give the Falcons Watson. So do you think that's feasible, that kind of blockbuster NBA style trade, John?
I think it could happen, but I would have 2 immediate hesitations about the possibility. The first of which is the Falcons, if they want to move Matt Ryan, are not operating from a position of leverage. The whole league knows of Atlanta's very public pursuit for Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. And Adam Schefter's even tweeting out they have until Tuesday or $8 million is going to hit the books, which would make acquiring Watson even harder. So they're on a bit of a deadline. Ryan's an older player. You would have to run a very specific kind of offense. So what would the return look like when you're operating out of desperation? And then 2, Atlanta probably feels that already on their own roster, they have enough to offer. Would they rather, kind of spread out your assets and, okay, like we want to keep the picks we get from another team just because, like we're seeing, variance is good in the draft. When the Jets made that trade with the Seahawks, nobody thought the Seahawks were going to pick in the top 10. But by virtue of having 2 teams, anything can happen in this league. It's like when we gave Miami number 3.
Oh, John, no, I'm stopping right there. Don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up. Could you imagine we had that pick, man? Could you imagine?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't think about it. It hurts too much to think about it.
It really does. Oh, my gosh. I got to catch up on the comments. Money Matt, thank you, my guy, for the $20 always coming through. I feel like Matt Ryan to Cleveland would make sense. Yeah, what do you make of the Baker Mayfield stuff, John?
I think that Baker, his whole kind of brand is built on this like fierce loyalty, right? Like he was kind of a jerk to people who weren't Oklahoma. He loved Cleveland. He came in there. He was all Cleveland. And it seems like that relationship has been fractured. The Browns say they won't trade him, but Jordan, we're watching it right now. If Baker Mayfield wants a trade, I think he's getting a trade.
I think with how the league has kind of taken shape, the power with players is rising. It's always been in the hands of the ownership and the GMs, but so many disgruntled quarterbacks recently, whether it's Deshaun Watson getting his trade, whether it's Aaron Rodgers ending up getting his contract, whether it's Russell Wilson getting his trade. It doesn't always have to, every scenario is different. It obviously doesn't have to go to the lengths that Deshaun Watson trade has gone to. But I do agree. I think eventually Baker Mayfield is in his last year of his contract. The Browns are going to want to get something for him because let's say they let him sit out this year. They're not going to get like a very good comp pick from him.
No.
Right? So they need to get something at this point. The Browns and oh gosh, the GM is blanking on my name right now, but he's Andrew Barry.
That sounds right.
Andrew Barry is one of the best GMs in the league, who is always a guy who has plan A to plan Z. So I think they're going to figure something out. Absolutely. Moving away from Baker, but moving to this next comment. I heard it's 2 firsts, 1 pit, 1 second, Kyle Pitts and AJ Terrell. Quarantine Carpenter builds. Says for $2. Thank you, my guy, for support. That would be probably amazing. The best deal out of any team that they could offer. Like I would 100% take 1 less first round pick, maybe 1 less second or third, whatever it is from the asking price, to have Pitts and AJ Terrell. Amazing, absolutely. That's the dream offer right there. You can't.
No one
blows all together. Exactly.
Nobody could beat that offer. But
exactly,
is that a real offer? Do you think that's possible? Because for me, I just don't think Atlanta can move Pitts. I don't think don't think David Mulugheta is going to put him in a position to be moved, and I don't think financially they're in a position to move him.
Yeah. I don't think Pitts is going to be involved. Number one, like you said. Number two, because Deshaun Watson needs weapons there, man. If anyone has seen the Falcons depth chart at wide receiver, I mean, those are some Walmart cashiers. Like what Quincy Avery said about the Texans in 2020, like, good luck. Good freaking luck. And the rumors, Julio might go back and whatnot, but they had Jarvis Landry, so maybe there's still some things that can be done, but they're going to keep Kyle Pitts.
You can't forget Will Fuller. Apparently a package deal with Watson. He'll play 4 games, so they might win those 4.
They might. It might be their only 4 wins. Let's get into – we talked a lot about Atlanta. I think at the end of the day, if they are the team that Deshaun picks, I think the deal is going to be something like 3 firsts, AJ Terrell, and maybe like a third. And I would be happy with that. Would you be happy with that?
Yes. That's like a best case scenario because, I mean, Terrell, he just so easily projects, okay, the Texans have a lockdown corner, which we haven't had in forever. I mean, that would be the best case scenario. It's a huge need, and you get all those picks.
I would love to get their seconds. They have 2 second-round picks this year, but I think us as Texans fans that don't watch every single Falcons game, we aren't even really valuing Terrell as high as he really should be. I mean, this guy made second team All-Pro in his second year. Like, he is absolutely insane. So I'm all for bringing in a new Clemson star and getting rid of the old Clemson star in Deshaun Watson. That's a better conversation than an awful Bill O'Brien trade. What would be the equivalent of D-Hop trade? We trade Deshaun for Baker. Oh, my goodness.
Baker in a 3.
Paul, you can get the win. Don't even put that on us. Okay. Sorry. We talk about Atlanta a lot. I think obviously the other person in this race is the New Orleans Saints. And they are interesting because they have the superior roster for Deshaun. They got a great O-line. They got Michael Thomas. They got Alvin Kamara. They got guys on the defense. They're also in cap hell, but again, the cap can be manipulated, so I'm not really worried about that. The thing about the Saints is I can see it being more attractive from a roster construction to Atlanta, but they don't have the aspect of going home and stuff like that. So Atlanta has the advantage there. The Saints have the advantage in the roster. Now, in terms of what we care about for the Texans, am I right in saying the Saints definitely don't have as good of a potential offer as the Falcons, John?
Unless they're just going to throw way more picks than Atlanta is willing to part with. Yeah. I think it's an inferior package. It's already hard to make up the difference from 18 to 8. But, yeah, unless they want to give more picks without that definitive top 10 pick, which I don't think you can speak to just how valuable that is. I think it's a worse package, and I don't love any of their players, especially when I saw you crushing on Marcus Davenport this week going over the film, and they restructured him on Wednesday that they're not moving him.
Yeah, it doesn't look likely. They have some interesting guys. They have a lot of interesting guys. I love Peyton Turner, their first-round pick last year. I love Marcus Davenport. I love Paulson Adebo. Those are the young rookie-scale contract guys that I think Nick Caserio would be having a wet dream about, if he could add to the Texans. Absolutely. But when Aaron Wilson wrote his article, initially labeling the Saints as, a front runner, he name dropped a lot of players. One of the first ones was Ryan Ramczyk, who is a Pro Bowl right tackle, top 5 right tackle, but he's making pretty much Laramie Tunsil money. And so it would be very hard to add him to our cap situation. And we don't exactly need tackles. I'm very happy with Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard. So Ryan Ramczyk to me never really made sense. The other names he mentioned made a little bit more sense. Eric McCoy, the starting center. Cesar Ruiz, the starting right guard. And he played some center as well. He was a rookie. Who was the other guy? David Onyemata, the DT, starting one of the starting. I don't really want him. He's a decent starter, but he's not really, there's no point adding him to our timeline, right? So if we can walk away with Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz, and then you have those, the 18th pick, and then maybe 2 more firsts, and then maybe you get like a third or something like that. That would be something that I think can rival what the Falcons can offer. But I don't think we would get both of those offensive linemen because the Saints, I mean, they got to protect Deshaun Watson, right? So do you think I think Eric McCoy would be the guy. I think Aaron doubled down today on Cesar Ruiz, but to me, Eric McCoy would be the guy I would want more because he's played another year in the league, and he's just a better player right now. Is there a player for you that really stands out on the Saints that you want?
There's really not. I'll be honest. I've not put the time that you have into watching the tape on these guys.
Mhm.
And I mean, maybe it's not fair, but when you look at what Carolina or Atlanta could offer, I'm just fundamentally opposed to the New Orleans trade. And
Yeah.
it's hard because they're in a really difficult position where you brought up Atlanta, Deshaun gets to go home. Atlanta has all these perks for what, and the Saints' big thing is you can win right now, and that they're one of the most well-run teams in the league. But the Saints are still going to ask him to trust them that, one, they have a new head coach. Sean Payton's not there anymore.
Yep.
And the guy they just hired, he went 4-12 in 2 consecutive seasons and was fired. And that's the only time we've seen him as a head coach. So they're asking Watson to trust that transition is going to go well and that they can win immediately. So the Saints aren't really incentivized to trade us guys who are going to help them win when part of it is convincing Watson to go there. And for Watson, I mean, I keep going back to, I just wish I could get inside his head. How much control does he want in his next organization? Because if you go to the Saints, they are a well-oiled machine that would win a lot of games next year without you. I don't think they will be beholden to Deshaun Watson. While Atlanta, I think Arthur Blank would allow Watson to have a lot of input in the Falcons. But I don't know, those are just some of my immediate thoughts on the Saints. I don't love any of their players compared to what Atlanta or Carolina could give us. And Cesar Ruiz is the name I hear the most. And that's kind of like I'd take him on Houston because we're a really bad football team. But does he get me really excited? No.
No, he's not in the tier of the AJ Terrells, the Brian Burns, the Jeremy Chins, those types of guys. He's a good player. He didn't get to show so much of his potential so far because he's dealt with some injuries. And I don't think he's exactly the type of offensive lineman that Pep Hamilton's looking for with his power run game. He's more of a zone guy. So I don't love that as well. Now, the other name to bring up is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson because Lonnie Johnson was full on troll mode today, John. Full on. I don't know what he's doing right now. I mean, he definitely loves to have some fun on Twitter, which, I mean, come on. I mean, if I was a player making millions of dollars, like I'd probably do the same. I'd probably fuck around a little too. I can't lie. But he added Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Was good. CD Deuce. And CD Deuce, if you don't know him, he's a kind of nickel / safety for the Saints. Young guy. I would say he's like an above average starter. And I think he's in like his 3rd or 4th year or something like that. So he fits the bill of what Deshaun wants, of what Nick wants. Deshaun Watson has time to make this significant life decision because blah, blah, blah. Okay, never mind. I got Aaron Wilson. I never turn on tweet notifications, but I turned on Aaron's today, and my eyes have been glued to my damn phone. Oh my goodness, John, it's horrible.
The scariest part is every time the phone rings, I'm convinced. I'm like, we're moving him. Like he's gone.
Yeah.
And then it's something disappointing. It's like the Texans signed Royce Freeman. And that's got to be the worst notification you could get when you're waiting for a Deshaun Watson trade.
I think that's what we're going to end this show with, John. I need to head out. Today is St. Paddy's Day. Shout out to everyone who wants to celebrate it, likes St. Paddy's Day. And so in the spirit of the Irish, me and my roommates are going downtown, bar hopping.
Oh.
I ain't got class tomorrow, so we don't have
jealous,
a good time.
Man. I'm so jealous. I got to be at the hospital at 6:45 tomorrow. So not in the cards for me.
That's rough. I am sorry, but hey, enjoy. I hope you have some drinks tonight. Just relax a little bit.
We'll see. Maybe one.
Maybe one. Okay.
Everybody likes a good beer. Come on.
Exactly. Kick back, relax. We know no decision's going to be made in these next few days, at least till Tuesday, probably. So we can kind of take our eyes off the phone a little bit. We can turn the notifications off. We can spend some time with your family, with your loved ones. And enjoy that a little bit. But Rick the Ruler 713 has a good question here. I love questions like these. So he says, I don't got time to follow sports like I used to. Can you tell me What's wrong with safety Kyle Hamilton, and what is a cover safety or down in the box? Ain't nothing wrong with Kyle Hamilton. All right, Rick. First of all, ain't nothing wrong with him. All right, people try and tell you something wrong with him. Give him a slap across the face because there ain't nothing wrong with him. He ran a slower 40 time than expected, but the 40 time isn't really fully representative of how fast a player plays on the field. And this dude is an absolute freak. I mean, think about Ed Reed, think about Troy Polamalu, think about Derwin James. Those are kind of the guys I would group him together with in terms of like the body type, the athleticism, the playmaking ability. And so he would actually be someone I would pick at third overall. I think you can build a defense around him. I think he can be a potentially generational defender. He's special, man. As for your second question, what is a cover safety or a down in the box safety? So the box is essentially the front seven is like your forward defensive lineman, your three linebackers. And so you kind of imagine a box drawn around where those guys play. It's like closer to the line of scrimmage. That's like your rectangular box. And so some teams like to put their safety and they bring them down into the box so that you now only don't have 7 players in the box, you got 8. And so you have that extra advantage and you have your safety that can help in run defense. That's kind of the idea of a box safety. And what you're looking for in a box safety is, a bit of a bigger guy, physical, good tackler, stuff like that. Your cover safety, he ain't going to be in the box too much. He's going to be a bit deeper. He's going to be like Kyle Hamilton, roaming deep, like Earl Thomas in a single high safety look, stuff like that.
When you think of a down in the box safety, think of Jamal Adams and the way that everyone talks about him in Seattle. Someone who can come down, play the run, hit like a linebacker, and if you need, they can cover, but they're like another linebacker.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to explain it, John. Thank you. Okay, quickly what we're going to run through, because we kind of talked about the Deshaun stuff a lot, and now we know that, hey, we got some more time on our hands to continue to worry about what we're going to get in return, man. Come on. What the hell? Pain.
I was so stressed at work every day this week.
Yeah.
And we're not going to find out till Monday. I mean, that's life.
That is life. Oh, well. It'll be healthier for our sanity this weekend to know that, hey, we probably can take it easy at least Friday and maybe Saturday as well. All right, let's get into quickly. We're going to run through free agent re-signings, guys we lost, new signings, and kind of overall takeaways, and then we're going to be headed up out of here because I got to head downtown. But some dude, Stafford.
We're so sorry, Jordan.
What a day it was, man. What a day. That's the notification I woke up to this morning, man. That is not a notification you want to see when you're, rubbing the crust out of your eyes. You're trying to open your eyes and force yourself to wake up, and you see the GOAT has signed with the New York Jets. Man, I mean, the writing was on the wall when we signed Albani Okoronkwo from the Rams, but it's sad to hear because reports were that Martin, the GOAT, was trying to have talks with the Texans. He wanted to be back, but I guess they just couldn't come to an agreement. So it is what it is. My absolute favorite player over these past few years. I wish him the best. I messaged him today. He messaged me back. It was a good conversation between me and him. So I'm glad we can still have that kind of that talk. But he's a really great dude, man. I'm just really excited for him with the Jets. I honestly am like at a loss of words. I don't even know what to say about it. He was just my favorite player because I just thought he had so much potential, and he would always play the game to its fullest, to like have that competitive spirit that just loves playing football. And it was inspiring to watch. That's kind of how I felt. So I called him the GOAT, man. But
he had some great plays, and he was a big part of your brand as you started building this. That was your thing. Jacob Martin is the GOAT. So end of an era.
I owe a lot to him, man. I owe a lot to him for sure. But he's a good dude. And news on Watson, it ain't happening, at least over this weekend. Pouring one out for Martin. Absolutely, I'm gonna be drinking for him tonight. Whew. Okay, let's go through this. I'm just going to, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to share my screen because I have all the things right here. Free agency, re-signings. We brought back Jimmy Morrissey. I'm happy with that. Good depth center. He can be a developmental guy. Give him another chance. I like his athleticism. Solid. Jeff Driscoll. Unnecessary. I don't know why we're rewarding mediocrity. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, he probably won't make the roster. They're putting him back at quarterback, not tight end. He's a third quarterback right now. I wouldn't expect him to be on the 53-man roster whatsoever. John Weeks back. Amazing. He's getting cut. Yeah. Perfect. Tight ends. I do not like what they did with the tight ends. I think Anthony Auclair was okay, but he's probably your third tight end / practice squatter. Pharaoh Brown was a big disappointment for me, John. I mean, he led us in penalties, was tied for 5th in the NFL. Do you see some upside with him, or is this puzzling for you as well?
I mean, he had a great preseason, and we kind of thought this would be the season if Pharaoh Brown was ever going to figure it out because there was so much opportunity on the roster. No, I was ready to move on. I was really disappointed that we signed him, especially when I think we gave him $4 million for the year. It might have been a multi-year contract, but OJ Howard took less money than that. I think better tight ends are taking less, and I don't understand this front office. I guess they love the familiarity of it, but what did he do for you that makes you think, okay, I have to bring back Pharaoh Brown?
Nothing, man. Nothing. And it's sad because the season before he actually had a decent season the season before, and he was our best blocking tight end, but he took a huge step back, man. And it just, I don't like this team prioritizes competition so much, and they prioritize, rewarding guys for doing their job well. And then you go out and reward guys like Pharaoh Brown for having a career low season. It makes no sense. And the tight end market, like you said, it was weird. And I think they caught it kind of at a bad time because it was at a high when the Panthers extended Ian Thomas, and there were a few other free agency deals where tight ends were getting tight ends getting this much money. Like what's going on? But then Pharaoh Brown was the last one to get $4 million, and the guys behind him all got less money as well, like you said. So it was a little bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm still down to draft.
Hopefully they'll bring in another guy to compete in that position through the draft or later in free agency.
Exactly. Hopefully Brevin Jordan is still mainly the focus, and they get a different blocking tight end who isn't going to have 10 penalties in 1 year. All right, moving on. Re-signings, other ones, Davion Davis, fine. Special teamer, depth linebacker. Yes, John, go for
Jordan, breaking news. Schefter tweeted 13 seconds ago, Carolina has been formed. They are out on Deshaun Watson, per source.
There you go. Panthers gone. That's kind of what the writing on the wall was as of recently, especially if you follow some Panthers people. They were all kind of talking that, hey, it's kind of done and they're moving on. But now it is absolutely official. That leaves the Falcons and Saints. 2-man race. We've been talking about this entire time. That's why we went into depth on those two teams. My guy James also says updated compensation per Aaron Wilson. Possible players that could be part of the trade package are all the guys that we actually already said. So there's not really a debate there.
Love it.
All right. Back to this. Re-signing Davion Davis, Chris Moore, Chris Conley, all fine guys, all depth guys. I think Chris Moore is a nice young guy. He had some good chemistry with Davis Mills. There's some potential there to see what he can do. Chris Conley, I mean, I would honestly like to see them give someone else a chance on these 1-year prove-it deals. We kind of know what Chris Conley is at this point, but maybe they want to. It seems to me that my takeaway with this is they're kind of going the continuity route for Davis Mills. With keeping Pharaoh Brown. Sorry, go for it.
But that would require Chris Conley to see the field. If you believe in Davis Mills, you're not putting together an offense where Conley plays more than 30% of the snaps. Yeah. He's your wide receiver 4.
Yeah.
Ideally, at best. I'm with you. I would have liked to have taken shots on different guys. Maybe they like his skill set, though.
I think what happened is they poked around in the wide receiver markets, and they didn't want to overpay for anybody. We heard that they were interested in Equanimeous St. Brown, but he also had a lot of suitors. And so what does Chris Conley bring that Equanimeous St. Brown also brings? What are they kind of looking for in wide receivers? It's speed. It's big play ability. And we didn't really see that connect with Conley last year. But we're hoping, I think that the idea is that they're hoping that another year and on their offseason and practice between him and Mills, they can build that chemistry and figure something out there. And he's a dependable veteran. Maybe they liked his locker room presence, stuff like that. Moving on, linebackers, Tay Davis, Christian Kirksey, KPL, all back. Kirksey is kind of the most notable one for me here because I thought he had a decent season. I thought he's functional as a starter, but I don't think he's like an above average starter whatsoever. And so I was kind of on him coming back. I do think that they can still upgrade the Mike linebacker position in the draft. I would not be mad at that whatsoever. But what he does is he doesn't force you into drafting a Mike early. You can take a more developmental guy and have him sit behind Kirksey and learn for a year and then walk into the starting role.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you there. Kirksey ensures that your defense can't bottom out it. For anyone watching, in the Tampa 2, the Mike linebacker, the middle linebacker, it's probably the most important spot on the defense. They have a ton of responsibility. Kirksey's coming into year 2 with that. And like Jordan said, you don't have to force a pick anymore. You don't have to go overpay anybody. It gives someone that Lovie Smith is comfortable with, and now you can invest elsewhere with best player available.
There you go. Perfectly said. These are probably the two best re-signings. Desmond King and Malik Collins. They were guys I honestly didn't even expect us to sign last season, especially King. But I'm glad that they are back. King's been one of my favorite guys for forever. So I love him. It'll be interesting to see. He's probably going to be at outside corner with Javier Thomas at the slot. Sorry, in the nickel. So that'll be interesting to see for sure. Second year going outside. We'll see how much he can improve there. Desmond King. And then Malik Collins, man, he's perfect. I mean, you said the Mike linebacker is one of the most important positions in Tampa 2. Same with the 3-tech defensive tackle with Malik Collins. So he's a perfect fit for what Lovie wants there. Had a great year, ended up cleaning up the penalties that he had early in the season. And I think another year in this system, we should see another slight step up. So I'm happy with Malik Collins there. And I think he'd be a great kind of veteran guy. He got signed for 2 years. And so if you draft a guy for his role, I think learning from Collins, like that's your ideal guy to learn from.
Jordan, if the Texans are at 18, could Jordan Davis play that role from Georgia? How does he project?
He's more of a Roy Lopez type. He's more of a I'm bigger, I'm taller, I'm stronger than you. I'm just going to bully your ass into the ground type of player. If he's there at 18, I would pull the trigger because he can do some things that Roy Lopez just simply cannot. He's a good 4 inches taller than him, a good 25 pounds heavier than him, and he moves faster than him. So the ceiling with Jordan Davis is absolutely freakish. I would love that pick. That's a great name to bring up. Guys, in terms of we lost, Justin Reed, Terrence Mitchell, Jacob Martin, those are the starters that we have lost. We kind of all thought that was going to be the way. Terrence Mitchell, actually, we cut him. We didn't technically lose him, but he signed with the Patriots. Interesting to me that the Patriots kind of signed one of our guys. I think it kind of shows like, hey, Terrence Mitchell, he's got some of those qualities that these Patriots personnel people like. Anyways, Justin Reed, happy for him going to the Chiefs. I think that's a decent situation there for him. He's not really exactly the same player as the Honey Badger, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But good fit in a winning organization. Hopefully he can get a ring, man. AJ Moore went to the Titans. Not sweating it. Really special team guy. Safety like 4, safety 3. KGH is probably potentially one of the biggest losses and question marks right now because he was one of our best, like probably our second best defender, behind Jonathan Gradar. Would you say, John?
I would agree with that. He was easily the best linebacker. I mean, Nick signed a bunch of guys, and he was the big hit.
Absolutely. He made plays, man.
Have we heard anything about where he's visiting with, who he's talking to?
He's been incognito, man. He's been living under a rock. Who knows? We're going to get into some of our new signings and talk about why that may or may not mean that KGH might be back. But Money Matt with another 20, my guy. Thank you. He says Jordan Davis is a man among children. Absolutely. That dude could eat you for breakfast, man. Oh, my goodness. Tyrod Taylor also went. He went to the Giants, backing up Daniel Jones. So that'll be interesting for sure. New signings. Let's get into it. Oh, sorry. What I want to say about Tyrod is like obviously they're committing to Davis Mills as quarterback 1. And I think a lot of people are happy about that.
I mean, we can't talk about Tyrod without talking about Kyle Allen. And in my opinion, for all intents and purposes, they're the same guy. They're somewhere between the 40th and the 55th best quarterback in the NFL right now. And it's someone who is not talented enough. In this case of Kyle Allen or Tyrod Taylor, he's too old to challenge Davis Mills. And Houston is going to sink or swim with Davis in 2022. That's what the quarterback moves told me.
Sink or swim. You think it's that? See, I have a different view. I see what you're saying, but I kind of find it like, I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, if Davis Mills like bottoms out, like, okay, then we'll end up with like another top 3, top 5 pick or whatever. We can go get one of those stud quarterbacks. And I get the logic behind it. I just don't know that the logic holds up because it's kind of rare that you see a rookie outperform his expectations and then take a step back. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like from this point, Davis Mills, what he's already shown last season, like you would think that the arrow is only pointing up, right? I kind of I don't know.
Are you
Like, I
familiar
think
with Drew Lock?
you're right. Okay, you pulled a fast one. You
I
got me.
just I just think that, I mean, you're right. There's no reason for us to think that Davis can't at
Yeah,
least be what he was last year. But if it goes south,
yeah,
they don't have a back. They're already probably one of the 5 worst rosters in the National Football League next year.
yep.
And then if Davis Mills goes out and he's terrible and you have to, or he gets hurt and you have to play Kyle Allen,
There's your yeah.
you're not winning football games. That's kind of my logic behind the sink or
Yes.
swim, because you no longer have a quarterback on the roster that's talented enough to elevate what's around him to win.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I hear where you're saying, or I hear where you're coming from. I agree. I think Kyle Allen, like, he's gonna be a fun guy to watch play football if it comes to that. I think he's an interesting guy. But moving on from that, okay, we'll start from the top here of this list. MJ Stewart was one of my guys back in the 2019 draft or something like that. I really liked him coming out of UNC. I think he can start at strong safety for us and provide some good insurance at nickel corner if Tavier Thomas does get injured or maybe has a drop off in play for some random reason. You can put MJ Stewart in there and be pretty damn happy with the results. He had a good season with the Browns, and he's never really been a starter. But when he has started, he started 3 games last year. He had like 11 tackles, then 10 tackles, and 7 tackles, and he had like 3 pass breakups in all those games. He's nice. He's nice. He's a versatility, kind of jack of all trades, master of none type of guy. But he's a sound tackler, really good in zone coverage. He fits Lovie Smith's defense. So I like it. I give that one an A+. Abanio Okoronkwo was the outside linebacker from the Rams, and he's kind of like the Rams' Jacob Martin. He's their designated pass rusher, freaky athlete. He shows all this potential, but he's not. You kind of don't want him to be your full-time starter, and you're not going to expect like double-digit sack production out of him. So he has dealt with a lot of injuries, and that's kind of what's held him back from being a consistent contributor. But I like this signing as a low-risk, high-upside type of thing because we need that role. We need that designated pass rusher. He's young. He is a lot of room to grow. And if he can stay healthy, man, I think this is going to be a really good payoff for the Texans. Do you like those 2 signings, John?
It's the kind of guys they should be signing who've shown well in their limited roles on good football teams. Cleveland and the Rams are some of the best rosters in the league right now. So bring those guys to Houston, give them full-time roles. I agree with you. MJ Stewart's the kind of guy who could shine in the safety opposite of Kyle Hamilton if we took him and be a difference maker when we didn't have a lot of them on the back end last year. And then Okoronkwo, is that how we say it? I agree. We need a situational pass rusher, and from what I've read, he did well when he got to play in LA. So I'm excited about that signing, even if it meant moving on from the GOAT.
Yeah, it is what it is. But Okoronkwo, look out for – he's a speed rusher. That's what he does. And then he's got this nice little spin move as a counter. So be interesting to see how he can develop. Moving on because I got to go. Blake Cashman, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. I liked Blake Cashman a lot out of college. Another one of my guys. He went to Minnesota. He got drafted by the Jets. And unfortunately, he hasn't stayed healthy either. So we're kind of seeing these young – upside guys that Nick has taken this swing on. Like John said, these are the types of guys we should be going after. We should not really be going after, the 30-plus-year-old veterans that we already kind of know what they are at this stage in their career. We want to go after the young guys and see if we can just hit on 1 or 2 of these, kind of lottery tickets as these young guys. So I like Blake Cashman, athletic guy, decent run defender. There's a lot of potential there in coverage, but he just hasn't stayed healthy. So hopefully he can stay healthy for us. As for Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he was drafted by the Lions. I think he's going into his 4th year or something like that. He's always been one of their ace special teamers. So we know that the Texans and Nick Caserio value special teams play. They drastically improved it in the past few years. And so Reeves-Maybin's going to be one of those guys to add to that contributions. And he also surprisingly actually started some games for the Lions last year and wore the green dot, which means that he's kind of like the communicator on their defense. So it'll be interesting. If that's the role he was signed for here, then I would think Kemu Grugier-Hill is unfortunately not going to be here. But I don't know. He only signed a 2-year, $8.5 million, and that's maximum, so with incentives. So that's kind of an ambiguous contract. Could be really good depth guy, could be low-end starter guy. I think he's going to be in the competition for that starting will linebacker spot. 2 linebackers only. Wow, that's kind of surprising. But I guess we re-signed 3.
Good for Nick Caserio holding off this year.
He limited himself. God damn, he heard the
Yeah.
Twitter noise.
AJ Cann, that's a big one.
Oh gosh, AJ Cann. AJ Cann had some good years as a Jaguars right guard. He was their starter since 2015. They drafted him. And I would say 2015 to like 2019, 2020, he was a viable starter, a average to above average starter, and had some really good years as a run blocker. But 2020, 2021, his play has started to decline. He's nearing 30, and he's coming off a season where he played 4 games and had a major knee injury in terms of his MCL. So while I think he has been a good player in the past, and you can't take that away from him, we're talking about the future. We're not getting 2016 version of AJ Cann. We're getting the 2022 version of him coming off a major knee injury. And this just kind of smells like Marcus Cannon again to me. John, do you see some upside with Cann? Are you more optimistic than me? Or what do you think?
He has the potential to be better than what we had. There we go. That's my upside statement, which is not saying a lot considering how weak we are in the interior. I mean,
yeah,
we got to find some different guys in the interior of the offensive line, and it wasn't a super expensive contract. There's some familiarity there with the offensive line coach. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say on Cann. I'm expecting him to be a starter with how this team operates, which is unfortunate.
I'm expecting him to be a starter at right guard. He is our O-lines guy, George Warhop, who coached with the Jaguars for the past 3-4 years, something like that. So he's been with Cann most of his most of Cann's career. So he knows what he's getting in him, and I think what they're hoping is that if Cann can come back 100% healthy, you got a run blocker who fits what Pep wants in terms of the power run scheme, because that's what the Jaguars were doing there. And so it's more of a scheme fit type of thing. Now in pass pro, he's going to need a lot of help from the center. We brought back Justin Britt, so hopefully Britt can have an even better season because he was coming off a knee injury himself. So hopefully he looks a little bit better this year. Another signing we made was on the O-line. On the interior of it was Scott Quessenberry coming over from the Chargers. He's always been their backup center. And I talked to my Chargers buddy, Stephen Hagland, and he said basically that Scott was always a quality backup, and he made the most of his opportunities when he got the chance to start. He just didn't really get the chance to start too much because he was always behind Mike Pouncey or Corey Linsley, who are obviously superior players. But he thought that Quessenberry could be their center of the future in another year or two. So I think there's some promise there. And obviously there's the whole Quessenberry story with the Texans. I think this is the 3rd Quessenberry we've signed at this point. Yes. So something about that family, man. Something about them and Cal. I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's a solid signing. We do need interior O-line depth. I think he and Jimmy Morrissey are going to compete for that backup center job behind Justin Britt. And the center position is looking like it's the first one to really be filled up. You got Britt, you got Quessenberry, you got Morrissey. I can't see them really adding a 4th center. So that position group looks done to me. Wouldn't expect one in the draft. Last ones, and I'm out of here. Dare Ogunbowale and Royce Freeman. John, take me through your thoughts on these running backs.
I'm really disappointed. They're 2 known commodities with low upside. Royce Freeman was a 2nd-round pick in 2017, and I'm not going to call him a bum, but he's a very average running back. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. We have 4 years of evidence of exactly what he is, and this team really we need good running backs to help Davis Mills, and we have. Why would you allocate cap space on these 2 guys? For Dare, at least he can play special teams. But Royce Freeman is not a special team contributor. He's coming in to play running back. And I don't understand why you're bringing back another player who you got to see plenty of last year and that has a track record of an underwhelming NFL career. There are other running backs out there. I feel like you could have had Marlon Mack at the same price. I would have rather seen what that looked like. I would have rather paid a little bit and offered Ronald Jones more touches. That's how his career ended in Tampa Bay, that he didn't get to see the ball enough and maybe make a committee with someone. But my biggest takeaway is that we're probably drafting a running back on day 2 because there's not a guy on the roster right now that you can trust to help Davis Mills. Rex Burkhead is the most talented back on this team, and that's not a viable game plan.
John, what you just said, that hurts my freaking ears.
Tell me I'm wrong.
That hurts my freaking. Oh my god. Oh, Rex. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right because the other running back is Scotty Phillips, and I absolutely love Scotty Phillips, but he hasn't shown us enough to say that he's better than Rex Burkhead. He hasn't. And so you got a bunch of backs with low upside, like you said, in Ogunbowale and Freeman, and Rex Burkhead as well. So hopefully they address that position with some youth, some injection of youth. And maybe this is an indication of how high they are on Scotty Phillips, but most likely not. Most likely not. And so in terms of running backs in the draft, everyone wants Kenneth Walker. Everyone wants Breece Hall. And I think there's a lot of athletic upside with them. And I wouldn't be mad at it. I just think personally, running back is a position that you can find value on day 3, later in the rounds, and it's so dependent on offensive line success that you don't want to be spending premium picks on it. You don't want to be paying those guys big money, stuff like that, investing a lot of capital into them. And so I would rather go draft an interior offensive lineman to go play left guard in the second or even the first round.
Jordan, who is your favorite back from the Senior Bowl that you would take on day 3? Because that was also my preferred strategy. It's just I think they might go day 2.
Predicting what they would do versus like what I think they should actually do is always a very different thing. Always a very different thing. My favorite back was Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce, Florida. I watched one game of him before the Senior Bowl, and I didn't see it too much, but it was a small sample size. So I'm at the Senior Bowl, watched 5 more games after I got home from the Senior Bowl, and goddamn, that guy can play. That guy reminds me a lot of Javonte Williams last year. If you guys remember him, the UNC back, he's just like a bowling ball. He's like built low to the ground, low center of gravity, kind of bulky, he's well built, like he's built for the NFL. He has that body type, and he's a downhill guy, power runner, between the tackles. He's a tough dude to tackle. Like, he does not want to go down on first contact. If you watch his highlights on YouTube, you'll see this one play where he's on the goal line. I forget which team it was. He's on the goal line. He's running through traffic to get into the goal line, and his helmet ends up popping off his head. And he doesn't care. And he runs through another 2 tacklers after that. So, like, this dude is just the biggest competitor on the field. It's so fun to watch. I think that's what the Texans need. I think because they want to, improve their run game, go with this power style, they need to start playing bully ball. They need to embrace that identity. And this is something I want to talk more about later and write about. They need to kind of embrace the identity of like the grit and grind. Like, if you guys know like Memphis Grizzlies and kind of that identity that they have kind of formed over the years that people know of them, is like it's grit and grind. They're tough nose, they're physical, they're going to punch you in the mouth, they're going to do some dirty shit sometimes, but they're going to do what's necessary to get the dub. They're going to slow down the game, and they're going to punch you in the mouth. And so I think that translates to football and how the Texans want to play the game. Be a run-first team, be physical in between the tackles, bully them, and like invoke your willpower on them, and then that'll make life easier on Davis Mills. So, Grizzly, yeah. So that's kind of something I'll talk about later. But this is gonna be it. No, you know what? My day's going.
Don't let them bully you.
I don't want to ruin my day. My God, Russell Westbrook, fucking joke. All right, let's get into the end of this because I gotta head out, man.
You gotta go.
John, it's been great talking to you, man.
Yes.
People can find you on Twitter. Yes. Follow you at Texans Doc.
Also, read our articles on the Texans Wire. We'll have a lot of coverage when the trade comes out. Mark and I are pretty excited about what we're going to put out there. And yes, make sure to follow me on Twitter.
There you go, my man. Great talking to you. I'll catch you later. But that's going to do it for the stream, y'all. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show your support. If you want to join the Texans Thoughts team, get some exclusive access to our Discord server where we got we built a great community there. And you can ask me a bunch of questions, stuff like that. Links in the description. It is like a bit of a subscription service, kind of like YouTube's version of Patreon. If you're down for that, if you want to support me, it would be greatly appreciated. But that link is in the description. I don't believe it works on mobile for some reason, but if you want to go on your PC and do that, yada, yada, yada. Y'all get the point. That's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoy the weekend. Hopefully Deshaun Watson will be traded soon. He should be at least by Tuesday. and we'll get a freaking damn answer to this never-ending story. My goodness. Goodbye, y'all. Enjoy the weekend. Take care. And remember, the beard don't lie.